Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Michelle Moten with Urban Solace Yoga and Wellness, and we are so excited to bring fun and fitness right to your home this month, thanks to our partnership with the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. Now, today's Urban Solace Home Edition will be quite a treat. It will feature a restorative yoga practice designed to help improve your flexibility and bring a little peace into your day. Now, a traditional yin yoga session includes a variety of poses that are low and held for 3 to 5 minutes, creating an experience that is uniquely challenging, gentle, but also relaxing. I will offer many modifications throughout the session, making this suitable for all ages and fitness levels, but with any physical activity, we ask that you please listen to your body, especially if there are any underlying health conditions or range of motion concerns. And remember, the information shared during this virtual class should never replace the guidelines set forth by your healthcare provider. Now, feel free to use a towel, blanket, or traditional yoga mat as your base because, again, most of the exercises in this yin session will involve sitting, kneeling, or reclining. And as you can see, I am surrounded by pillows, so bring your pillows, your bolsters for added comfort throughout the class. And of course, you're always welcome to just practice your breath work while listening to our playlist. So at this point, we simply ask that you come as you are, do what you can, and have fun while you're here. So let's get started. We're actually going to begin today lying on our mats in a comfortable reclined position. I think today I want a little support for my back, so as always, if you're taking care of your low back, you can certainly keep your knees bent with the soles of the feet firmly rooted. I'm spoiling myself today with a nice pillow under my head as well, and I'll extend my legs to support them on top of my bolster. You can even place it behind the knees. If you're in full Shavasana, remember you can also externally rotate from the hips and even from the shoulders so that you're in the true anatomical position, which means there's no holding on. So go ahead and invite the eyes to close as you settle in, leaving our agendas and busy day planners back in the house as you dedicate yourselves for the next 60 minutes to simply breathe and move. So feel those pressure points underneath you making contact with your mat today, and imagine that any stress or tension that may have followed you into your cozy spot is slowly melting away to be absorbed into the earth. So starting with your face, let's begin to relax the areas surrounding the eyes and the brow. Soften the cheeks, leaving that little space between the back teeth. And then let's start to lengthen the neck, lowering the shoulders away from the ears, finding some softness between the shoulder blades, and even making sure that your lower back is comfortable, adjusting for that sway in the lumbar region. And now that we've lengthened the neck, this is a good opportunity to rotate the head toward the right, just to assess any tension that may be present in the soft tissues that support the head. Good, and slowly bring it back to center, and then switch sides. Again, nice and easy. Maybe noticing anything different on this side compared to the first. Good, and slowly return to center. Now let's start to awaken the hands by rotating the wrists. Wiggle the fingers and give your hands a nice squeeze, letting go of any tension in each of the forearms and the digits. And then gently allow the hands to come to rest, and we'll do the same with the feet. Begin to wiggle the toes, rotate the ankles, and give the toes a good scrunch as well. And then gently allow the feet to come to rest. And from here, we're just going to settle in, quieting the mind as you bring your awareness to your breathing. Now, in a traditional yin yoga practice, there isn't an emphasis on a specific breath technique. Of course, if you've attended any of my other classes, you know that we use the Ujjayi breath, or a deep diaphragmatic breath, as our foundation, a way to center ourselves. Of course, that is always an option for you, but I'll encourage you to be aware of your breathing, especially if anything feels challenging, or, once again, just to keep you centered throughout the session. But from here, we're just going to quiet the mind and focus on the ebb and flow of the next 5 wonderful, normal, or deep diaphragmatic breaths as we prepare to begin. Good. Now very slowly begin to rotate your forearms so that your palms are face down along your sides. And one at a time, we're going to slide the heels back, bending the knees, rooting through the soles of the feet. And if you are reclining on a pillow, this would be a good opportunity just to slide it back so that you can make sure that your spine is in neutral alignment from the cervical spine all the way down. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, we're going to lift the hips up toward the sky into bridge. Now, in some traditional yin yoga sessions, many of the poses are just immediately introduced. And of course, I'm an exercise physiologist, and I'm a firm believer that it's important to warm up the body before you exercise. So I'm going to take you through a sequence of poses and flows that will help, again, lengthen the muscles and heat them up in preparation for our longer holds. So just take a moment, making sure the thighs are roughly parallel, knees stacked comfortably over the ankles. Nice extension through the arms as you reach those fingertips for the heels. Engaging the glutes, lifting not just from the hip bones, but also from the base of the rib cage, as long as it's comfortable for you. And then on an exhale, we're going to slowly, gently, softly release the hips back down to the mat, one vertebra at a time. And as soon as they touch down, we'll inhale, lift them once again. Nice and easy. And just paying close attention to what you feel along the way, where you notice strengthening, but also lengthening. And give me 4 more. And as you notice those muscles beginning to heat up, you can certainly explore deepening the range of motion. You'll be lifting a little bit higher, using your arms as part of your base as well, so pushing into the earth to assist. And as you make your way to that final round, go ahead and lift and hold it. Good, and slowly release. Nice. Let's go ahead and bring the knees into the chest one at a time. We're going to cross at the ankles, placing the hands behind the head, interlacing the fingers, elbows open wide. And when you're ready, on an inhale, we're going to lift the head and shoulders, engaging the abdominals. Inhale, slowly return to start. Exhale, lift to engage. Inhale, slowly release. So again, since many of our poses will be held static for an extended period of time, we want to make sure that we loosen up all the supporting structures. Nothing like a few rounds of ab-focused moves to help increase the core temperature. Give me 4 more. And as you make your way to that final round, let's go ahead and lift and hold it. Elbows open wide, making sure that the neck remains long, so directing your gaze up toward the sky or the ceiling. Nice. And gently release. We're going to uncross. Go ahead and lower just your left foot, and we're going to cross the right ankle over the top of the left knee. Right arm down to your side, and when you're ready, let's exhale, lift, and twist. We're just going to hold it here, making sure the elbow is open wide. And then inhale, slowly lower. One breath, one movement. Exhale, lift, and twist. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift, and twist once again. So awakening those external obliques. And give me 3 more of these. The birds are enjoying this beautiful day as well. Let's lift, twist, and hold that last one. Again, keeping the elbow open wide. And slowly lower. Nice. Now, keeping the legs crossed, we're going to lift them as a unit coming into our pretzel stretch. And this is just a good assessment of a baseline test to see how the hips are feeling today. Noticing what you feel on the outer aspect of the hip and thigh, even into the glutes. You can increase the intensity by holding on underneath the opposite thigh, relaxing through the shoulders as you use the biceps to gently pull in. Good, and slowly release. Arms down to your side. We're going to uncross that right leg, send the foot up. Nice soft bend in the knee, flex the foot, and we're going to float the heel toward the mat, but don't let it touch. And inhale, lift it right back up. Slowly release. Again, don't let it touch. And gently lift. So we're going to fire up the muscles supporting the hips today, because many of our extended hold stretches will include hip openers. We need 2 more. Good. Lower and hold that last one. And from here, we're going to tuck the knee in toward the chest and extend. Tuck and extend. Nice and easy. And with each extension, I want you to reach through the toes as if you were trying to push a button on the wall in front of you. Firing up the quads. We need 2 more of these. Extend and hold. Now we're going to add just a little bit more heat. So go ahead and give me small circles as if you were drawing the number 0 with your toes. Awakening all those smaller muscles. Let's switch the rotation. Good. Coming back to center, and let's just bring that knee into the chest, holding on underneath the thigh, helping to relieve some of that tension that we created. Even give the ankle a little rotation as well. And switch the direction. Nice. And slowly release. And from here, let's just switch sides. So when you're ready, we're going to cross now that left ankle over the right thigh. Left arm down to your side, right hand behind the head. And from here on an exhale, we're going to lift and twist to the left. Inhale, slowly return to start. Exhale, lift and twist. Inhale, release. Again, exploring the range of motion without leading with the elbow. Give me 3 more. And as you make your way to that final round, go ahead and lift and hold it. Again, nice deep breaths. And inhale, slowly release. Keeping the legs crossed, we're going to lift them as a unit, coming into your pretzel stretch. And again, you may notice the stretch right away, but if you'd like to increase the intensity, you can take that left arm, thread it through the space between the legs, holding on underneath that right thigh. Shoulders away from the ears. And just making sure that your breath is steady. Good, and slowly release. We're going to uncross that leg, send the foot up, maintain a slight bend in the knee. Arms back down to your sides, and give me a flexed foot, and we're going to float the heel toward the mat, but don't let it touch. Using the strength of the lower abs and the hip flexors to control the movement. And just taking your time. Even noticing the role that the opposite leg plays in helping to stabilize you. Even the arms are part of the foundation. We don't want to just rely on momentum. I want you to control the movements in both directions. I need 2 more. And as you make your way to that last one, go ahead and lower and hover. Keeping the core strong, back pushed into the floor. Give me a pointed toe, and let's tuck the knee into the chest. Nice. And now let's make this dynamic. Extend, reach through the toes as if you were pushing that imaginary button on the wall in front of you. And with each extension, I want you to feel the quad, that large grouping of muscles, the top of the thigh, becoming taut. If you don't feel it, maybe extend and pause to hold that isometric contraction. Need 3 more. Extend and hold. Let's increase the heat now. Nice slow circles. And again, you adjust the angle at the hip that's comfortable for you. If you'd like it a little easier, you can make your leg roughly perpendicular to the floor. You could increase the intensity by lowering the leg closer to the floor. Now switch the direction. Nice. Coming back to center, just bring the knee into the chest, and we're going to hold on underneath the thigh. You never want to hold on top of the shin and pull down because that over flexes the knee. We want to keep those knees healthy. All the soft tissues and ligaments that support it. And let's draw the other knee in to meet it. Wrap the arms around both. Nice slow circles, massaging the back. And gently switch the rotation. And knees back to center. Roll to one side, and we're going to use the strength of our arms to gently rise up, coming to a seated position at the head of your mat. Now, if you're taking care of the hips or the knees, you can always take a wide angle seat. You could even allow the knees to lift so that the hamstrings are not competing with the back. Hands on either side of the hips. Let's anchor with the right hand. Inhale, lift the left arm up and over. Nice energetic reach. And we don't want to collapse into that side. I want you to lengthen as you extend laterally. And even choose which direction you'd like to rotate your head based on the comfort of the neck and shoulders. And also as you lean to the side, make sure that opposite sit bone doesn't lift off. A little push with that base hand, and notice what you feel from the arm to the top of the waist. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, up and over, opposite side. Good. Exhale, slowly release. One breath, one movement. Inhale, lift and reach. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, release. And just taking your time. As we start to warm things up laterally, you can certainly adjust the depth of the range of motion based on what feels good for you today. You need 2 more on each side. And as you make your way to that final round on that last side, let's allow that hand to come to rest. Now, if you'd like, you had an opportunity to strip all of the cushions off of your sofa, or if you have a bolster or a thick pillow, you could place it in front of you. Because after that lateral flow, we're going to come into a forward fold. Certainly, if you'd like, you can extend out the arms, but from here, we're just going to rest. And bolsters are, again, another adaptive device. It allows you to relieve some of the pressure, especially in the low back with forward folds. And it also allows you to surrender a little deeper into these restorative poses. Good. Now gently rock from side to side, just loosening up the space. right along the lower back. And then slowly rise up. Now, if your legs were crossed, go ahead and switch the position. So whichever leg was in front will now be tucked behind. And I'm actually going to keep the bolster in front of me because when we get to the next forward fold, I'd like to have it close by. So we're going to place the hands on the front of the knees this time and go ahead and roll the shoulders back and start to lift the chin, sending the sternum slightly forward, opening everything from the base of the throat down to the waist. Nice strong arms here, creating a sensation much like you're trying to prevent yourselves from falling back. And then exhale, slowly begin to round the back, just kind of tucking in slightly, creating this concave shape. Setting good posture aside just for a moment for the sake of the stretch. And now one breath, one movement. Inhale as you lift. Exhale, slowly rounding. Inhale to rise. Good. And exhale, release. And same thing, paying close attention to any movement or loosening of the muscles. You can certainly deepen that flow. Taking care, however, if you had any disc trauma or spinal injuries. Give me two more. And as you make your way to that final round, we're once again going to fold forward to rest on that bolster. So again, if it's not comfortable to have the legs crossed, you can uncross them and still fold forward. One note, if you are going to uncross them and fold to rest on the bolster, make sure that your knees are slightly lifted because you can allow your back to round only when your hamstrings are not fully extended. That's going to help protect, again, your back. And let's gently rock once again from side to side. And coming back to center. If your legs were crossed, go ahead and uncross and rock the knees from side to side just to loosen up the hips from that static hold. We can take the bolster, set it at the head of our mat because we're going to make our transition to hands and knees. Now, if you're on a hard surface and you'd like an extra layer of cushion, certainly you can fold your mat over in the center. Or if you have a pad, gardening cushion, or even one of your pillows, you can use that as well. But coming into table, stacking the shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees, spreading the fingers nice and wide. Let's flow through cow and cat. Inhale, lift the chin, swaying the back, tilting the tailbone up. Exhale, nice arch in the back, tucking the chin, shifting the hips forward, and just taking your time without rushing or racing. Go on, give me two more. And as you make your way to that final cat arch, we're going to pass through neutral table, bringing the big toes together, knees open wide, taking a nice seat into child's pose. Now, once again, if you'd like, you can even slide your pillow or your bolster underneath you. Some of you may have those large body pillows as well, which is another fantastic option. But of course, traditional child's pose is always a welcome position. Good. Now with arms outstretched, palms flat on an inhale, we're going to slowly rise up, passing through that neutral table, allowing the hips to drop, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the chin. And we're looking for a nice lengthening stretch in the back and also the front body. So we're not lowering the hips all the way to the floor, just a little drop. And then exhale, gently push back where you started in child's pose. One breath, one movement. Inhale, let the hips drop, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, gently push back. Slow and steady. And give me 4 more. And as you make your way to that last hip drop, we're going to slowly return to a neutral table position, but we'll need to reset the alignment. So walk the hands back, stacking the shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And our last warm-up today, before we get into our true yin experience, is going to be downward facing dog. So tucking the toes under, and on an exhale, let's lift the hips up and back, easing into it. If you created that cushion for the knees, certainly you want to flatten your mat out before you lift up, just to prevent the mat from slipping underneath you. And the only warm-up is going to come from bending the knees one at a time. Just loosening the calves, soles of the feet, hamstrings. We're getting a little strengthening in the upper extremities as well, so the shoulders, triceps, and upper back. Nice. Let's return to a static down dog position. And on an inhale, let's lift that right foot up toward the sky, doesn't matter how high. And all we're going to do on an exhale is swing, step, or assist that foot between the hands. And if you'd like to slide that cushion back underneath you, because we're going to lower the opposite knee and uncurl the toes. Placing now the right hand on the inside of the right foot, and we are in preparation for baby dragon. Once again, if you have a bolster or a yoga block, you can certainly use that to bridge the gap, giving you something to rest your forearms on. Or you can certainly release the forearms and just rest your head on the pillow. Now, in a true yin practice, as I mentioned, poses are held anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. We won't be holding them this long, but that's where the challenge comes from, because there's very little cueing at that point. The instructor is essentially just keeping time and reminding you to stay present and calm. So at this point, just make sure that you found a comfortable position. Try to surrender into the pose and just focus on your normal, natural breath. So when you're ready, our time will begin now. very slowly begin to exit from the pose. Again, you can slide your pillow or bolster out of the way. We're going to walk now that right foot out to the side, sweep it back to meet the left, tucking the toes under, and on an exhale, lift your hips up and back into our second downward facing dog. And just taking note of any differences from left to right. This time, we're going to rock the hips from side to side, loosening the outer aspect of the IT band. Good, and slowly return to center. And on an inhale, let's lift now that left foot up toward the sky. Again, doesn't matter how high. And on an exhale, let's swing, step, or assist that foot forward. And once again, if you'd like the cushion under the opposite knee, go ahead and place it as you gently lower the knee to the earth. Left hand to the inside of the left foot. Again, choose to have the bolster, pillow, or not. Finding your sweet spot. Settling in. Inviting the eyes to close. Breathing normally. And our time begins now. Gently begin to rise up. We're going to walk that foot out to the side, sweep it back, big toes together, knees open wide, and we're going to actually use this next child's pose as a yin pose as well. So again, make sure that you're comfortable, settling in, try to surrender into the stretch. You could even choose which direction you'd like to rotate your head based on the comfort of your neck. Inviting the eyes to close, breathing normally, and our time begins now. Slowly make our way out, sliding the bolster aside, rising back up into your table. Go ahead and give me a nice deep cat arch, breathing into your back. Even give your hips a little twist. Nice. Coming back to center. We're going to walk the knees now To the right edge of the mat, lower the hips to the left. We're going to stay on that left hip and just begin to lower the chest and the abdomen to the floor or to your bolster. You can extend the arms out into a T if you'd like. You can adjust the knee tuck based on what is comfortable for your back or where you'd like the stretch directed. And once again, inviting the eyes to close, settling in and breathing normally. And your time begins now. Good, and slowly slide the hands under the shoulders. Using the strength of your arms, begin to lift the head and the torso away from your pillow or your mat. We're going to still stay on that hip. Just lift now the right knee to release that left shin forward. We're going to come into another hip opener. So this is a variation of pigeon. Many of you are accustomed to pigeon having the rear leg or your tail feathers extended completely behind you. But in this case, it allows you to control certainly the intensity of the stretch, especially since it's being held for an extended period of time. And just a little side note, kind of the history of the yin practice. Yoga in general is certainly essential for improving our flexibility. But a yin practice, because of the longer holds, we're addressing not only the elastic properties of the muscles, but we're also getting into the plastic properties of the joint systems as well, safely, of course. So listen to your body, especially if you've had any range of motion concerns or even joint surgeries. Again, knowing your limits is the safest bet. So you have the option to certainly fold diagonally over the knee, or you can fold forward, because folding forward in that forward shin would be roughly parallel to the front edge of your mat. So once again, finding your sweet spot and try to surrender into the pose, allowing just gravity and your body weight to do the work for you. Breathing normally, and our time begins now. Good. Now very slowly begin to rise up. And you can slide your bolster forward out of the way for a moment. And we're going to lean to that forward knee as you swing the rear foot forward. And we're going to come into just a nice easy spinal twist, just to work out any tension that we may have created from that longer hold. Allow the shoulders to relax down and back. Nice deep breaths. You can even look off to the rear shoulder. Good, and slowly come back to center, and we're just going to do all of that on the opposite side. So unthread, let's rock the knees for a moment side to side just to loosen the hips. Coming back to center, we'll sweep the feet behind us, and once again, we're going to fold forward, coming into a spinal twist. If you'd like, you can place the bolster underneath you or just surrender to the mat completely. Again, you can choose what you'd like to do with the arms, forward or out into a T. Inviting the eyes to close, breathing normally, and our time begins now. and slowly begin to rise up, sliding the hands underneath the shoulders to lift the head and the torso. Same thing, we're going to stay on that hip. Just go ahead and lift the left knee to release that right shin forward. You can choose how close you'd like that knee to the forward foot. You can use your bolster again, and you can fold diagonally or forward, finding your sweet spot, settling in, inviting the eyes to close, and our time begins now. Good, and slowly begin to rise up. Once again, you can slide your pillow or bolster forward. Lean to the right as we sweep that left foot forward. Left hand behind the back, and let's continue the rotation, sitting nice and tall. Let the shoulders drop down and back. Breathing into the twist. And coming back to center, let's unthread. Once again, rock the knees from side to side. And coming back to center, we'll bring the soles of the feet together, holding on to the shins or the ankles, and just sitting up nice and tall, correcting the posture. And working with the strength of the arms, let's go ahead and lower the chin toward the chest. Nice stretch along the back of the neck. And give me some slow neck rolls, opening an ear toward the sky, lowering the chin, and just switching sides. Good, coming back to center, and we're just going to fold forward into bound angle, holding on to the ankles, or you can hold on to your feet. You can even take your thumbs, place them on the inside of the feet, fingers on the outside or the tops, as if you were opening the pages of a book. And this helps to soften the fascia, bring some flexibility to the ankles. Or you can simply just release the forearms, the elbows into the inner shins or inner knees, providing a little downward pressure. Taking note of what you feel and how you feel at this point in your practice. And slowly begin to rise up. Now, we're going to make our transition to our backs, and hopefully you've enjoyed this little mini introduction to a yin practice. Again, all familiar poses that you've been introduced to. Many of you have favorites that you have certainly practiced on your own, and you can certainly choose the length of time that you hold the poses based on what your goal is. I remember my first time taking a yin practice. Because I'm a runner, I have tight hips and certainly a lower back issue. So anytime I would go to the class, I thought I was being punished for something until I learned the importance of stretching out the hips. And then it became like magic every time I went. It was like getting a massage. Certainly something you could do on your own, a lot cheaper with the help of bolsters or a yoga block or even yoga straps as an assistive device. So from here, make sure that you have your comfy nest ready for you in Shavasana. So let's go ahead and extend out through the arms and slowly, gently, softly begin to make your release down to your mat. Again, if you're taking care of the low back, you can keep the knees bent. And just take a moment to place your hands on your abdomen, taking note of the sensations moving through the body. Just bring the knees into the chest one at a time. Open the arms out into a T, and let's lower the knees to one side. So another variation of our spinal twist. Many of you are probably very accustomed to higher intensity exercises or even yoga flows and vinyasas that are very rhythmic and upbeat. But it's nice to have opportunities to kind of slow down and treat your body to these restorative poses. It's a great way to minimize the risk of overuse injuries as well. Knees back to center, and just switch sides. Again, slow and steady. Good. Knees back to center. Tucking them into the chest one final time. Hands on the front edges of the knees. And just begin to lift the head and shoulders, tucking in nice and tight to your cannonball. You can even reach down to your feet for better leverage, tucking the knees in toward the shoulders. And slowly unroll, lowering one foot at a time to your mat. Arms down to your sides, and let's lift into that bridge. Now, if you have your bolster, pillow, or even a yoga block nearby, you can even slide that underneath your back for one final treat. Exhale, slowly, gently, softly begin to release. And as soon as your back makes contact, go ahead and extend out the length and width of your mat, allowing the feet and knees to flop open, inviting the eyes to close one final time, and taking a deep cleansing breath, returning to your normal natural rate, softening the face with a smile, honoring yourselves for taking this time out of your busy day to do something just for you. Now giving yourselves permission to truly release as you savor the fruits of your practice. Simply take rest. Now very slowly begin to bring your awareness back to your extremities by wiggling the fingers and the toes and rotating your wrists and your ankles. And slowly sweep the arms back behind you for one final torso stretch as you reach through those fingers and toes, even arching the back, taking a deep breath here. And relax the spine, drawing the knees into your chest one at a time, wrapping the arms around the knees, giving yourselves one more big hug today. Can never have too many. And let's slowly roll to our side, holding here for 3 deep, easy breaths, preparing the mind and body to make that transition back into your day. Yoga's much nicer with a pillow on your head. Oh yes, we're still here. Let's go ahead and use the strength of your arms to slowly rise up to a comfortable seated position at the head of your mat. We'll close our practice by bringing our hands at heart center or in the Anjali Mudra, inviting the eyes to close one final time as I leave you with today's inspirational quote from Gandhi, who writes, quote, "May you live like there's no tomorrow and love like you'll live forever." In closing, I'd like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank you for joining us today and for supporting, liking, and sharing our Home Experience series with your friends and family. And special thanks to our wonderful friends at the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy for hosting us on their Facebook page. And for more information about our wellness programs and services, please visit our Urban Solace Studio page right here on Facebook or at urbansolacestudio.com. And from our home to yours, stay safe and namaste.